What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, the Carolina Collector, and here I am again, filming another video for you fine biological ladies and gentlemen out there, right in my kitchen, Mark Dice style. What you're looking at right here is something that, I had to sink my teeth into, because when I'm told that I'm not allowed to have a thing, you best believe I'm going to try to find a way to get that thing, and this is the best example of that. So, what you're looking at right here by far is one of the most ingenious things that I've seen in a very long time when it comes to knockoffs. You would think that this was an original, but it's not. This is a knockoff G1 Walther P38 Megatron in all of its G1 goodness. I'm sorry to all you young children out there who didn't grow up with the franchise like I did back in the 80s. In this universe, Megatron always has been and always will be a gun. Period. So with that being said, when I heard that they were going to release something like this as a bootleg, I'm like, man, I got to sink my teeth into it, because unfortunately, thanks to our depraved laws and, the it, what, who pronoun weirdos that are anti-gun with the rivets and staples and screws in their faces and the bull rings in the nose and all that goofy stuff, unfortunately, Hasbro will never release this here in the States, so it was very, very interesting to see that someone out there did this. There's a few caveats to this thing, unfortunately. In order to get this here in the States, it had to be shipped in two separate boxes. So the box, the styrofoam, and the paperwork came in one box, and Megatron and all of his accessories came in a separate box. So, and they came within 2 to 3 days of each other. It took about, about 5 days from the time I ordered it to ship. Give the seller or sellers some time, because, again, they have to separately pack everything. So, and one of the nice things, there's no scotch tape on anything, which is great, because, like I said, they had to ship this separately. At least on my copy, there was no scotch tape on the box, so that's good. So if you want to display this and you don't want that to turn brown like scotch tape tends to do over time, well, this is the way to go. I mean, clearly it's a repro box. This should not look like this up on top. The letters, I think everything should be centered a lot more. I know down here, as a matter of fact, this is way off. At least the way they put this particular box together. It might be just my copy, but the box is flimsy. You can see the QC issue right here. There's QC issues all over the place with this box. I'm not going to take the time to point them out. But for all intents and purposes, when you look at it, you would think it was a G1 original Megatron. I mean, for a display piece, if you really don't feel like screwing around, if you happen to have, like I have a 16 special and the gray Megatron here from the Asian 2-pack, if you don't want to mess around with those guys, this is a good option to go for. I paid $112 shipped for this guy. So, again, like I said, it came in two separate boxes. Let's crack them open and take a look. Oh, that glorious old school styrofoam. I know the it, what, who pronoun rivets in the face, bull ring in the nose, wearing idiots out there screaming, "Oh my God, the environment because of all of the styrofoam." Shutting up. If you really cared about the environment, all of you would be on the side of a highway picking up the trash. You just want somebody else to do it for you. So, with that being said, here is the sticker sheet. But I did choose to apply one of these guys here on his chest and on his back. So, really, really nice repro sticker sheet, in my opinion. I don't think I'm going to apply the stickers, because the other two Megatrons that I got don't have stickers on any of them. I like it that way because, in my opinion, it's more cartoon accurate. However, there is something different with this guy. Unfortunately, right out of the box, I'm going to have to discuss, along with a few other things. Very nice knockoff instruction manual, or fold-out, however you want to call it. It's up to you. In all of his G1 goodness, you could tell that this thing is definitely a copy of a copy of a copy. The pixelation on this thing is a little funny, but regardless and despite that, you get the look and feel of an original G1 Megatron without having to pay $800 for one. Let's start taking them out of the styrofoam. And Tech Specs decoder. Definitely classic G1 right there. So I'm not going to bother taking the this gun out or whatever that is, because, well, it's pointless. Nobody cares about that thing. I didn't care about it as a kid. I don't care about it now. So there's a little hole right there. Hey, peekaboo. There's a little hole right there. You get to push out Megatron. And you got these cutouts right there where you can remove everything else. Just be careful not to ruin the styrofoam. I'm going to put that off to the side. So, uh-oh, they're coming. I don't know if you can hear the sirens in the background, but they're coming. They're coming. Uh-oh, look out, illegal toy gun. This scope, or his fusion cannon, actually came in 3 separate pieces. Now, again, this stuff here came in one box. Everything else came in the second box. Strangely enough, this came in 3 separate pieces, which I don't know why, but to my knowledge, an original Megatron does not do that. Now, I have 2 examples of Megatrons right here off camera that I will compare them to. I'm not going to crazy glue mine or epoxy mine because the plastic is very tight, even though it feels cheap. Just be aware that there is a sight, because this does turn into his scope when it's not being used as his fusion cannon. And also, don't forget, you have these little tabs here that he can hold on to, which also are very cheap. You may want to consider putting some floor polish or crazy glue to stiffen that a little bit. That's up to you. I'm not going to do that because that's now how I display mine. But just keep those things in mind. But otherwise, if you kind of line up the sight, that's pretty good right there. So, whatever. It does feel pretty cheap compared to an original. The plastic is kind of meh. But I'm not going to bother transforming this thing into his giant cannon like what you see here on the box. No point to that because I don't know anybody that displays their G1 Megatrons in such a way. What matters is his fusion cannon. But let's assemble the gun, or assemble Megatron here, in his Walther P38 goodness. Now, my copy is a little finicky, so I might have to get it off camera to make sure that I'm able to do this. Okay, good. It cooperated this time. Yeah, because there are certain aspects of my copy that are just very, very finicky. But there he is in his Walther P38 goodness. Oh, isn't that glorious? And the mechanism is not the same as in an original Megatron. Unfortunately, this copy, or even the original from back in the 80s, did not come with the bullets. If you get the Japanese reissues, or you happen to have the original Japanese release of this guy, it does come with bullets, but the mechanism in here, unfortunately, doesn't click. So, which is fine. I mean, I'm not going to be sitting here, shooting plastic bullets all over my home. So, but, I mean, he just looks amazing in his Walther P38 form, which I know will trigger a lot of, the it, what, who pronoun weirdos with the rivets in their face and bull rings in their nose and rainbow hair and tattoos and yellow skin from not showering for weeks. But, and to all of you that I've been seeing talking about why Earthspark was canceled, well, no one wants pronouns in Transformers. And then they come and they hate the G1 crew because we call it out because we don't want that stuff. Well, good. I'm glad it's canceled. Now, I'm transforming him into his robot mode. The robot mode is very simple to transform. However, my copy, which again, I said I was going to have to do it. Oh, I don't want to break it. Be careful because my copy, unfortunately, is very stiff. And I did add a little bit of silicone grease to some of his parts, but now, of course, I got the camera rolling and he doesn't want to cooperate. Just be very careful how you handle this guy because you just might break it. Come on. Don't do this. There we go. Okay. Whew. It was this arm that was giving me trouble. I'm going to have to see if there's any kind of plastic divot in there that's causing it to jam, or I might have to loosen the screws or something like that. But yeah, this arm is very difficult. Even the fusion cannon, I had to take a pair of nail clippers and cut out a piece of plastic that was left over from the molding, I guess, or casting from whatever individual or individuals cast this from. So, and also, you're going to see there's a little divot right there on this copy, unfortunately. I had to take a little silicone grease, which you might see, but after playing with this thing for a little bit, and again, I want to exercise caution let's see. All right, he cooperated this time. You're going to see that silicone grease right there. So, and right out of the box, there's a push pin that's right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that push pin right there on that joint popped out, so I had to epoxy it in place. But with all that being said, once you get him transformed into his robot mode, I will say, compared to an original, see, again, like I said, mine is very temperamental. Now, he also suffers from your traditional spread eagle syndrome that most Megatrons have. I mean, all Megatrons have floppy legs, and this guy's no exception. But once you get him transformed, I mean, the stiffness in his joints actually helps him. Because if you do own either 16 Special, which I do have right here, or you have the gray version of that guy, which I happen to have right there for comparison, you're going to know that they flop around. Even if you have an original from the 80s, over time, these guys tend to just flop around. They tend to lean like Abe Vigoda. You know what I mean? So here, like this guy, he doesn't stand properly or perfectly straight. He kind of leans to the left a little bit. Whereas 16 Special Megs right here suffers from spread eagle syndrome. But his stability with the stiff joints actually helps. And for my observance, I mean, handling this guy for a little bit, I can tell he's the bootleg. Because, number one, he didn't come with the sticker here. And there's no sticker for that area on his stomach or on his chest. That's what Toy Hacks is for. So I might have to get a sticker sheet, excuse me, just for this guy. But as you can see, the 16 Special and the gray Megatron, they've got that sticker there. Also, this guy has a tampograph Decepticon symbol. I went with a large Decepticon symbol. I actually purchased these stickers right here because they are, oh man, once you put these on, they're impossible to take off, especially if you screw up. I highly recommend using tweezers with these guys because they are very stubborn. But I decided to put Decepticon stickers, or at least the same size Decepticon sticker as what this guy has here, and it actually really sticks out. But just to differentiate between the two, I put a smaller one on this guy. Just to make sure and to guarantee that I don't mix these up. But then again, when you look at the QC issues between these two, especially, like I said, there's a divot right there that I had to get in with a razor blade and literally cut it. You can actually see, I'm going to swipe away a little bit of that silicone grease. Because like I said, this thing was very stiff out of the box. At least my copy is. So, you're going to notice that there are a couple scratches right there where that divot is, and that's what was jamming this thing up in the first place from transforming, which is quite unfortunate. But again, what do you expect? It's a knockoff. Whoop, see, he was ready to go. Don't you do it. Always expect the unexpected on this channel. But, you know, between the three of these Megatrons, I tell you what, if you don't feel like shelling out $200, $300, $400, in some cases $800 or $900 for a complete original, or if you're looking to get a 16 Special or anything like that, you know, you're going to pay upwards of $300 to $400. I paid $112 shipped for this guy, you know, but again, you're going to have to anticipate that your copy, like mine, may have some surface issues. It may be stiff. It may be temperamental. So just be aware of those things. I mean, there's really not much difference between this guy. Well, for a better comparison, obviously, let's get this guy off camera. There really are no differences aesthetically, with the exception of the fusion cannon, which, again, like I said, this guy, you can see there's separation there and separation on his head, whereas you really don't see that separation too much on you know, an official release. But, you know, you look at the faces, for example, you're going to see that this Megatron here doesn't have, I guess you want to call it a tongue. I mean, you look in their mouths, you can see like the 16 Special, which is here, has like a tongue or, you know, what have you. This guy does not have that. And you look at the head, for example, the details are a lot more sharp. And you can definitely see that right there. And you can see the separation is really prominent on the knockoff. Even though there is separation on the original, it's a little bit more prominent on the front of his head. Your copy may not have that. But, I mean, beat for beat, there really aren't that many differences. The die cast on this guy is a lot cleaner. Like, you can tell they use, like, cheap, very cheap die cast. Because you can see, like, this here is, like, almost faded, I want to say, or has, like, a matte finish where this guy is very shiny. And I want to see if it's like that on the other Megatron. Yeah, this one's very shiny too, but just for comparison, let's get the bootleg out of here. And you can see there's no matte finish on the die cast there. It's very shiny as well. So, and also the inside of, oops, here we go. Like I said, these guys can be very temperamental. Anybody that owns a Megatron, you'll know that these guys are very unstable if you're not careful. So, the inside of the knockoff's arms, you're going to see that the parts are black, which you can notice right there. Versus, you know, the real deal, the genuine article, that's not the case. So let's just take this arm, for argument's sake, and pull it down. You can see it's a push pin with gray parts. So, again, there he is next to the 16 Special Megatron. I mean, for what it is with the issues that it does have, I mean, it does have some QC issues. Some of the details are not as sharp as the original. The coloring is a little off, though. The chrome on this guy is super shiny versus this. I haven't seen any paint chipping so far. Now, this guy's a few years old, so there are some stress marks throughout this thing. I really don't mess with it. It's more a display piece than anything, which is why I bought this guy. But I'm going to compare him, let's move him up here a little bit, to Hegemon. This is my kit-bashed Hegemon right here, which has been my go-to Megatron until they released New Age Romulus, or New Age Romulus. I also added a better Decepticon symbol and took off the other one that was on there because when you transform this guy, it's so tight, it will rub that sticker right off of there, so I decided to go with this, but after the crazy transformation that I did when I reviewed this guy, I'm not going to go through all of that stuff. But as a display piece, as a static item or a static object, I mean, he is just amazing. But of course, he doesn't size up with Studio 686 Prime, which I still yet to review here on the channel, but he does stand up pretty well next to Earthrise Prime. So, but again, if you're looking for a bootleg Megatron, and you don't feel like breaking the bank buying, you know, a reissue from Takara or an original from back in the day from when I was a kid, you know, and you want to rub it in the faces of the Ep.235 anti-gun pronoun weirdos out there, I would definitely recommend to pick up one of these. I mean, he is just amazing. You know, you're probably going to have to order a sticker sheet from Toy Hacks to get that sticker on there. I want to make sure that this is loosened enough before I decide to do that so that this way I'm able to put the proper sticker on there. I'm probably going to have to disassemble them to make sure that it's installed properly. But with all that being said, I mean, he does stand on his own and he doesn't tend to flop over like, you know, these guys do, unfortunately. Because over time, if you don't put any joint cum in there or floor polish, it's going to flop and lean and, you know, you're going to end up doing the dance with these guys. You know, I've knocked these over several times, you know, trying to show them to my friends or, you know, if I get bored and I want to mess around with one of these, it'll instantly fall down. So, and let's get 16 Special Megatron right here, front and center, and then we're going to wrap this up. But there you have it. A wonderful, wonderful callback to my childhood. I never had a G1 Megatron as a kid, unfortunately. I did have plenty of other Transformers, but he was one I never had. But as an adult, as you can see, you know, as an adult collector, it's really, really nice and really cool to see that the franchise is still going strong. And in this universe, in the original G1 universe, Megatron always has been and always will be a Walther P-38. He's not a tank, he's not a plane, he's not a truck. In this universe, he is a Walther P-38. In any other universe, it's fine to turn him into a tank, but from my point of view, Megatron originally has been and always will be a gun. And what Hasbro is about to do with Studio Series 86 Megatron, I completely disagree with it. So I'm camp G1 with this particular issue, but that's another topic for another day. I think I discussed that on the channel already, but really good display piece. If you want to leave him in his box, you could do that. If you already have Megatrons like this, I am most likely going to use him as a display piece, but I got to find room to put him. And I think I have room up on my very tippy top of my, or I should say, I think I have room up on the very tippy top of my display shelf in my living room here. So it's going to make for a really nice display just to show this guy off. I really don't think I'm going to mess around with this guy too much. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A G1 knockoff Megatron that really does the job. But just be careful if you do order one for yourself. Again, it came in 2 separate boxes. And there are QC issues with this guy, so be very careful what you do with him. Don't pull on it too hard. You might want to use a little silicone grease here and there to kind of loosen them up, and then fidget with the parts so that this way the plastic wears down a little bit. But after all is said and done, he fits right into any G1 collector's collection. So, and again, you know, you'll notice the subtle differences that clearly this is a knockoff because all the minor details, like in a chrome, this guy is not as sharp as these guys are, etc., etc. So, but at first glance, if you didn't know any better, you would think that that was an actual G1 Megatron. And I'm happy to have this thing. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I am your host, the Carolina Collector. Don't forget, I have an eBay store. The link is in the description box below. If you want to help to support the channel, I have loose sports cards and various other items from time to time over at my eBay store. It really goes to help to support the channel so I can pick up more stuff like this to review for all of you. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. And I will see you all very soon.